So there we go. All right. First things first, legalese. You understand this is being recorded and could be used on air, correct?
Absolutely.
All right. And then can we get a name and a title, please?
Yep. Steve Barg, and my spelling is B-A-R-G, and my title is City Administrator, City of Marshfield.
All right. Awesome. So, Steve, give us an idea of the significance of a an RFQ for the Weinbrenner site.
Yeah, I'd love to do that, Michael. So the city has owned this property for a long, long time. We've been leasing it to the Weinbrenner Shoe Company. Been working with them for a while. Kind of a dual purpose, good for us, good for them. They've wanted to have a new facility, a more conducive building that would work better for them, a little bit more generically built, not so cobbled, larger. And so we worked with them to build a 70,000 square foot building in our Mill Creek Business Park. It's good for their future. It's good for us because we really wanted to get them out of the downtown. Nothing against that company. They're wonderful, but we're hoping to renovate that part of the downtown, and an old industrial building, isn't really what we want. So we've known all along that we might be able to find somebody to renovate it, perhaps multifamily housing, perhaps who knows what. And now that they've signed on and they've started building in the business park, they hope to be occupying that new building in the early part of 2026. So we're jumping into the waters in terms of trying to find somebody that we can roll up our sleeves and work with to do some kind of a renovation project on the existing building.
So this isn't going to be a situation where the building's empty right now. You're basically asking somebody to come in, do an inventory of the building, and then see what they can do with it once it is empty, correct?
Yeah, it's not empty now. In fact, there'll be a tour on December 5th, I believe we scheduled it for, when any of the developers who indicate interest can come together. We'll have a tour with the Weinbrenner folks, their building maintenance people, and others will walk around and answer any questions about the condition of the building. But they are still continuing to make shoes there. They will be producing, manufacturing shoes, well into 2025 before they finally transition to the new facility in the first quarter of 2026. So what we're doing is for about a month here, we're taking any kind of proposals we get from people, a little bit longer than that, through December 20th. Not proposals per se, but really their qualifications. There's an RFP, request for proposals. RFQ is request for qualifications. We want to know who you are, what other similar projects you've done, who are the key players, what are their backgrounds and experience. Trying to figure out who might be a good company for us to work with to try and come up with a plan that everybody is happy with to try and renovate that property.
And I'm guessing that comes from just how specialized this building is because it's on the National Register of Historic Places. It's on the state register. So that means there's limited things you can do with the outside of it. So you really want somebody who has experience going through, and like you said, multifamily housing, mixed use development, whatever it may be at this site.
You're absolutely right, Michael. It's very targeted type of development. It's not the kind of person who just does regular, industrial, commercial, or residential projects. There is, exactly as you said, there's a historic register part of this. The funding source for this will likely be in part historic tax credits. And the people who do this across the state and across the country are people who are familiar with what needs to be preserved in terms of the architectural character of the building in order to qualify, whether that be windows, whether that be roofing, whether that be, siding or whatever. They'll be familiar with what is acceptable to get the tax credits and do the project and not compromise the historic integrity.
And then my last question before we can let Corey fill in any gaps that he needs to, it's right along those lines. If you, as Steve Barg, administrator of the city of Marshfield, have any say about this, which of course you don't have the final say, but what would you like? Would you like maybe some multifamily housing, or maybe a half and half, a split setup with some office space or medical on the first in a portion of the building? What do you see as a good fit for this site?
Well, yeah, ultimately the company we pick will probably come up with some ideas in terms of what could be most marketable in this area, given the incomes of our community and so forth. But to answer your question, my picture would be a mixed use that has a fair amount of residential, but maybe has some light commercial or retail. I know when we had the joint meeting on October 29th with the council and the CDA, there was conversation about a coffee shop or a gift shop or the kinds of service type businesses that might fit well in a project like this. Um, but it'll have to only be certain types of businesses because, the main purpose at that point probably will be residential. But again, we look forward to any ideas that developers have. One of the developers we've been talking with in the past who might be interested in putting their hat in the ring has done projects in the Milwaukee area where they've taken old industrial buildings and made really good reuse of them. So we look forward to what they might have to suggest to us as well.
All right. Anything you got anything, Corey?
No, it kind of answered all my questions.
All right. I'm just saying it looks like it would be an a great place for an epic brew hall. We're talking like authentic Munich Oktoberfest type.
Oh, there you go. There you
That's just
go.
me though.
Yeah,
So
that's a great idea, Michael. I like that. Yeah, yeah.
all right.
The really cool thing about this is we kind of maybe get off into some sidelights before we wrap up is just how exciting a possibility this is for our downtown because ever since we started talking about the Second Street corridor, could we make it more vibrant, more active and get some good things going on? This building has been long identified. This very large industrial building on the west end of downtown has been mentioned many, many times as being a key element in this. So I think now the fact that we have the building or we'll have the building back from them as we get them into the business park. And now the fact that we're talking about relocating the police department to the south end, that would free up a couple buildings in the downtown. We really have an opportunity to try and implement the plan and get some more economic development down there. So we're very excited.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, that's all I got. So Corey, unless you've got anything else.
Nope, that's all I got too.
All right. Perfect.
Thank you,
Thank you so
gentlemen. I
much.
apologize for the timing on this.
No worries. No worries. I'm glad you were able to
Fine.
shoehorn
Yeah,
us
reach out
in.
to me anytime. I'd love to talk about updates as we go along, as we start connecting with a particular company and focusing in on them.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get back around to you some point early next year, I'm sure. So
That'd be great. I would think early January would be a great
okay.
time. By
All
that
right.
time, we would be picking somebody and rolling up our sleeves.
All right. Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thanks, Steve. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
Yep.
Have a good rest of your day.
You
You
too.
too. Bye.